Welcome to another bedtime story. Falling asleep to English helps you relax while keeping your ears familiar with natural sounds. Close your eyes and just listen and let the language sink in.
Tide letters. I arrive at the shore just before the evening light begins to fold itself away. The day is not done, but it is ready to rest. The edge of the sea is a line of silver that slowly breathes. It comes forward, it draws back, it comes forward again. Like a gentle promise, kept and kept again. There is space here to listen. Space between waves. Space between thoughts. Even the air seems to make room for quiet. I take off my shoes. The sand is cool. It gives beneath my feet like soft memory. A gull floats on the wind, unhurried and sure. It rises on a small tilt of air, and the air holds it, the way a calm hand holds a letter before reading. Beyond the rocks, small pools of still water keep small versions of the sky. Clouds drift in those tiny mirrors, patient and pale. I walk the length of the beach in a slow, even rhythm. 5 steps with the breath, 5 steps with the hush of the tide. Inhale with a wave that builds, exhale with a wave that fades. The body remembers how to be simple when the world is simple too. Along the high water line, driftwood rests like a map no one needs to hurry to read. A branch points toward the far headland, where the lighthouse stands like a kind thought. Beside the branch lies a shell, white and moonsoft. I pick it up and turn it in my hand. It has a spiral, a quiet road curving inward. When I hold it to my ear, there is not a roar, only a room of hush. A gentle chamber of air, a place where sound turns kind. Perhaps the shell keeps a memory of the sea the way we keep a memory of a voice. Not exact, but warm, near, and faithful. I let the shell rest in my pocket. There are other small findings. A bead of blue glass, a feather with a dark tip, a piece of rope that once had important work and now is free to do nothing at all. I smile at that, because rest is also work, the work of healing. The evening is not in a rush to finish. It unwraps itself with care, the way we might open a letter from someone we miss. The paper is thin, the words are simple, the meaning is large. The sea keeps speaking in a language that requires only breath to understand. In, out, forward, back. A gentle wind folds around my shoulders like a shawl. Salt touches my lips with a taste that is both new and very old. The horizon keeps a secret line, not quite sharp, not quite lost. It is enough to guide the eyes, not enough to close the mind. A little farther on, the sand grows darker and finer. Tiny rivers made by the last tide draw their signatures on the beach. They have written their names and are content to let the wind and waves erase them. I think of days that wrote their names in me and left behind a soft brand of light. Days that do not demand attention, only welcome it. At the base of the small cliff, a patch of grass leans toward the sea as if listening. I lean too. I hear the slow rub of pebbles being rolled and shined by each patient wave. It is the sound of time doing kind work. Not pushing, not pulling, just polishing. There is a memory I do not chase, but allow to walk beside me. A day like this one, another shore, another set of gentle hands picking shells and placing them in a small cloth bag. No hard words lived in that day, only soft talk, the kind that is more breath than speech. Look, and hear, and listen. The sky grows deeper and warmer at once, a quiet paradox. The sun is not quite gone, yet already I feel the comfort of evening approaching like an old friend who knows not to knock. Somewhere far along the beach, a dog barks once and then agrees with the silence. A bottle lies partly buried in the sand. It is empty except for a touch of light. I lift it. The glass is cool and smooth, its mouth filled with a small drift of salt. For a long breath, I simply hold it, letting the weight of it settle into my hand, letting the idea of a message settle into my mind. We send words to one another across distances we cannot always measure. We give them to water or air or time. We trust that they will arrive, though we do not know when. Perhaps this bottle once carried a letter. Perhaps it still does, the kind that needs no paper to be read. I set the bottle back where I found it, and smooth the sand the way you smooth a page before you write. Not yet, the shore seems to say. Listen first. I walk toward the lighthouse, because it is a steady thing in a world that moves. Its white wall holds the last light of the day the way a quiet face holds a thought. A narrow path of crushed shells leads up, pale and sure. My steps click softly, a metronome for a slow, kind tempo. At the foot of the tower sits a bench shaped by many seasons. I sit, and the bench remembers how to hold a person. From here, the water repeats its patient lesson. No wave hurries, yet each one arrives. No wave is the same, yet all of them belong. The door opens with a small sound, like a page turning. A person steps out, old but not fragile, weathered but not worn out. Their eyes are the color of a long horizon. They nod in a way that means, you have come to the right place and you have time. Evening, they say, and the word lands like a small stone in a calm pool. Evening, I answer, and the pool makes 2 circles instead of 1. We do not fill the air with many questions. The sea is already speaking. The lighthouse is already listening. We join them. Some people, the keeper says after a while, come here to find a loud answer. The sea does give answers, they add, but they are not loud. They come in breaths, and you have to breathe with them to hear. I nod and let my breath arrange itself to the slow grammar of the tide. In, out, forward, back. The keeper gestures toward the rail where a small bell hangs, green with gentle age. It rings when the wind is right, they say, and it keeps time for anyone who needs it. The bell does not ring now, but I do not feel the lack. Silence keeps better time than any bell when the heart is tired. We watch the water find its own careful shape around the rocks. We watch a low cloud fold itself into dusk. Words are not missing. They are simply not required. When the keeper speaks again, their voice is a soft line on a soft page. Leave your day with the sea, they say. Let it turn and turn it, the way it turns the stones. It will not take it from you, it will only smooth the edges. I feel something ease in me, like a knot remembering how to become string. The air tastes clean again. The wind lifts a thread of my hair and sets it down with care. There is kindness in the way the world moves when we do not resist it. Will the moon be bright? I ask, not for weather but for company. It will be what it needs to be. The keeper answers, which feels better than a forecast. They stand, and I stand. Walk the tide line when the lamps come on in town, they say. The sand remembers footsteps best when the night is young. We nod, and that is enough. The door closes with a page-turn sound again, and I am on the bench with evening. I stay until the first lamps glow along the distant street, small stars at the earth's edge. Then I follow the pale shell path down to the beach. Night is not a curtain here, it is a tide. It comes in patient layers, each one softer than the last. The sand cools under my feet in a way that makes the body grateful for blankets it has not yet met. The town behind me begins to speak in low voices, the kind that carry but do not disturb. At the tide line, small waves write the same kind sentence again and again. I read it with my feet. It says, "Be here." That is enough. Perhaps all true letters say the same. Perhaps every story we keep is a tide letter, folded by time, carried by breath, opened by silence. I walk until a rounded stone suggests I sit, and I agree. The stone is a good reader of tides and of weight. It keeps my shape without keeping me. The waves count for me, so I do not have to. In, out, forward, back. A child's laugh rises from far down the beach and thins into the air, then fades like a small kite into dusk. A dog shakes water from its coat, a soft silver rain, gone before it lands. A couple passes, their voices low, their hands easy. We are all students of the same quiet teacher. In my pocket, the shell is warm now. I hold it to my ear again, and the hush inside it feels closer, like a room where a lamp has just been lit. I think of the bottle I left in the sand, of letters with or without paper, of answers that prefer whispers. My breathing falls into the simplest pattern it knows. In, out, forward, back. I let my eyes rest half closed so the lights in the town blur into friendly stars. Between one wave and the next, there is a space large enough for peace to sit down and stay. I do nothing, and it is not a mistake. I wait, and it is not a loss. The sea keeps its gentle copy of the sky, and the sky keeps its gentle copy of the sea. Somewhere, in that wide, kind space, a thought arrives with a softness of foam. You are carried. It does not mean I will never have to walk. It means there will be water under my feet when I do. I let the thought float, the way a small boat floats, supported, not driven. The first true night wind finds me and folds a cool sleeve around my arm. It brings a scent of pine from the hill and a faint sweetness from the town's bakery locking its doors. These are small things, but the heart is a harbor for small good things. They dock and rest and make a gentle line of lights across the dark. I rise from the stone, and I leave no mark but a memory in the sand, and even that the sea will smooth with care. It is not loss. It is a promise that the world can hold me without having to hold on. I walk back toward the lamps on the street, one slow breath at a time. The day folds itself away. The shore keeps the letter of its hush, and I keep walking, reading it with my steps. The night has deepened, yet it does not feel dark. The sand glows faintly under the moon, as if remembering the day. Each grain holds a shimmer, a small piece of what the sun left behind. I walk again, slower than before, each step a quiet question. The tide has changed its voice since evening. It speaks in longer breaths now, lower, rounder. The sound rolls and folds like soft cloth being arranged by unseen hands. If I listen closely, I can almost hear the folds themselves sigh. I pass the spot where the bottle once lay. The sand has already taken it back, smoothing every side of my visit. The sea does not keep what it does not need to. It teaches this by doing, never by saying. A long piece of driftwood lies half in the water, half on the shore, like someone who could not decide whether to rest or continue the journey. Its surface is pale, its edges softened by long travel. The moonlight sits on it the way ink sits on a page, patient and sure. I sit beside it, tracing with one finger the pattern that salt and time have drawn. It feels almost like writing, except that no one needs to read it. The meaning is in the making, not the message. That thought feels kind, so I let it stay. Far out, a slow-moving ship hums like a heartbeat behind the horizon. Its lights blink once, twice, then vanish into mist. It reminds me that distance is only another kind of silence, a space where things can rest before returning. I pick up a small shell near the driftwood. It is chipped, imperfect, but when I hold it to the moon, the broken edge shines like a silver smile. The tide reaches for my feet, not to take, but to greet. Water curls around my ankles like a cool ribbon, then retreats. I think of all the hands that have touched this shore before mine. Sailors, lovers, wanderers, children. each leaving something unseen, each taking something wordless. Perhaps memory itself is a tide. It comes to show us what stayed and what has kindly gone. The lighthouse blinks once, steady and unhurried. Its beam draws a white path over the water, then erases it, then draws again. Light traveling, resting, returning. Even brightness breathes. A soft wind moves across the dunes, carrying the smell of grass and salt. Somewhere, the keeper's bell rings once, not loud, but certain, a small mark in the long page of the night. It sounds less like metal, more like memory finding its way home. I walk again, my footprints pairing with the faint line of the tide. We move together, one of sand, one of water. The world feels written already. I am only tracing what exists. Along the way, small things wait. A cork smooth to velvet. A glass bead blue as early morning. A strip of faded fabric tied around a stone as if to anchor a wish. The sea keeps these offerings, sorting them without judgment. I pick up the fabric and let it slip between my fingers. It smells faintly of smoke, maybe a campfire from long ago. I imagine laughter, brief, human, gone, not lost, only folded into the sound of waves. I leave the fabric where I found it. The night accepts it again. No questions, no thanks required. The act of noticing feels like enough. Further down, near a curve in the bay, small creatures draw faint trails in the wet sand. Their paths cross, loop, vanish, appear again. Each trail looks accidental, yet none are wrong. It comforts me to think the earth also writes in rough handwriting. I kneel to watch a tiny crab lift sand grain by grain. Its rhythm matches my breath, steady, unhurried, alive. It pauses, as if aware of being watched, then continues. We share a silence made of simple work. Behind me, the wind shifts direction and brings the scent of pine again. For a moment, I feel the forest and the sea breathing the same air. Two great bodies trading stories. There is a low stone wall ahead, half buried and half forgotten. It looks like the remains of a thought that tried to stay. I run my palm along its cool surface, rough but familiar. Time does not erase, it edits. I sit there and look back toward the lighthouse. Its light moves slowly across the curve of water. I count each turn, not to measure, but to join. Each sweep feels like a soft heartbeat, steady and kind. The keeper's voice drifts faintly through the wind, or maybe it is memory borrowing the tone of the wind. It says nothing new, only repeats the gentle command, listen to the tide. So I do. I let the sound come and go without needing meaning. The sea speaks in breaths, the wind translates, the sand agrees. My thoughts begin to match their grammar. Minutes pass without their usual weight. The stars gather more confidently now, small lanterns above a wide hush. I realize the body learns calm faster than the mind does. It only needs a pattern, and the sea provides one. A wave reaches farther this time and smooths over the prints I made earlier. No protest, no apology. It simply resets the page. I smile. Perhaps I am being rewritten too. A thin mist begins to lift from the surface of the water. It looks like breath rising from sleep. Even the air seems to soften its edges. The world is quiet, but not empty. It is full in a gentle way, like a held note just before it fades. I lie back on the sand, using my hands as a pillow. The sky curves above like an endless roof of silver cloth. I trace constellations with slow blinks. There is comfort in knowing the stars are not watching. They are simply existing, perfectly themselves. The sea continues to whisper its long story, line after line. Some of it I understand. Most of it I do not need to. The meaning sits between the sounds and the spaces where thought forgets to think. Somewhere behind the dunes, a door closes softly, the keeper returning inside. Even that small sound folds neatly into the night's rhythm. Nothing interrupts. Everything belongs. I imagine tomorrow's tide already forming far away, gathering small waves, polishing shells, preparing to arrive. The future, I think, is just another word for water we have not yet touched. My eyes grow heavy. I count each breath as if it were a gentle wave. 1, 2, 3. The number fades before it ends. The sea counts for me now. Somewhere in that space between wake and drift, I think I hear the bell again. One clear note, and then only the kindness of water turning over itself, again, and again, and again. The night has not yet ended, but it has started to loosen its hold. A faint light lies on the horizon, not gold yet, not blue yet, a color between promise and pause. The world is taking its first quiet breath. The tide has pulled back, leaving wide stretches of wet sand that shine like mirrors. Each wave has written its line and stepped away politely. I walk slowly, my footsteps pairing with my reflection. There is no sound except the sea inhaling itself. I find myself drawn toward the curve of the beach where the driftwood once rested. The tide has moved it farther inland, as if the sea had wanted to keep it safe through the night. Nearby, a faint glint catches the edge of my sight. At first, I think it is a stone or a shell. But no. The shape is too deliberate. Half buried in sand, caught in a nest of seaweed, lies a bottle. It leans slightly, as if waiting to be noticed, as if it has been waiting a long time. I kneel beside it, brushing away the damp sand. The glass is fogged, pale green like sea glass. A cork seals the mouth, and inside, something folded, yellowed, small. A letter. The bottle is cool to the touch, smooth but uneven, its surface full of tiny bubbles. It feels alive in the palm of my hand, like an object that has not forgotten its purpose. For a long moment I simply hold it, unsure whether opening it is kindness or intrusion. The sea laps closer, as if curious. A single wave reaches out, touches my heel, and withdraws. That feels like permission. I pull the cork gently. It gives with a sigh. The scent of salt and old paper drifts out. Clean, soft, unhurried. Inside, The rolled paper slides forward, damp at the edge, but still readable. I unroll it carefully, smoothing it against my knee. The handwriting is slow, the ink faded to brown. Only a few lines, written with patience rather than haste. It says, "To whoever finds this, there are days the sea keeps my voice. If you hear it, listen kindly. My name was Eliora." That is all. No date, no address, no plea. Just that small confession, folded and sent to the mercy of waves. I read it again, aloud this time, letting the name linger. Eliora. It feels light but complete, like a pebble smoothed by years of water. The sound of it seems to belong here, somewhere between the gulls and the tide. For a while I sit with the letter on my lap, listening to the morning unfold. The sea keeps answering in its patient language. I imagine the writer, someone who stood on another shore, maybe under a sky just like this, and decided that the ocean was the best listener they knew. Maybe they were right. The sea does not interrupt. It does not hurry you toward the end of your sentence. It lets you pause, forget, begin again. It understands that not all words are meant to return. I refold the paper carefully, pressing the creases along the old ones so the memory stays intact. The ink feels fragile, as if it would float away if I breathed too hard. Still, I read the name once more, Eliora, and something inside me answers without words. The first sunlight touches the edge of the waves. The color changes from silver to rose, then from rose to a soft gold that doesn't sting the eyes. The world becomes visible again, but I feel as if I've stepped into a slower kind of seeing. I place the bottle beside me, upright in the sand. It casts a small shadow, long and thin. The sea seems to read it too, brushing near and away again. In that rhythm, I sense the shape of what Eliora meant. That voices never truly vanish, they just change the element they travel through. Maybe her words have drifted across years, carried from hand to current to tide, until the water decided I was ready to hear them. The thought feels both strange and gentle. A soft wind lifts the letter's edge. It makes a sound like a quiet page turning. The sea repeats its single word again and again. Come, come, come. I fold the letter once more, place it back inside the bottle, and set the cork firmly but kindly. The act feels ceremonial, like closing a door without locking it. I trace the glass with my thumb, and for the first time I notice tiny letters carved near the bottom. Barely visible, but there. They are the same name, Eliora, not etched by a machine but by a hand, the way someone might mark a belonging before letting it go. I stand, holding the bottle against the morning light. The sun passes through it, filling the inside with gold and shadow. For a heartbeat, the words inside seem to shine. Then I lower it again and step closer to the tide. The water folds around my ankles, cool and forgiving. I let the bottle rest on the surface, and it rocks gently before finding balance. Then, with a small push, I send it back. Not away, but onward. It floats a few feet, caught between wave and light. The sun paints a narrow road of gold across the sea, and the bottle follows that road without resistance. Soon it becomes a dot of brightness among brightness. Then it becomes the sea. I watch until I cannot tell which glimmer is it, and which are simply the waves breathing light. There is peace in not knowing. A voice not outside but inside says quietly, "Things return when they are ready, not when we call them." I nod, though no one is here to see. The sea nods too, in its way. The breeze grows warmer now. The sand has lost its chill. Birds begin to wake, trading single notes like morning greetings. A fisherman appears far down the shore, his figure still half made of mist. The world is resuming its usual pace, but mine remains slower, stretched gently by the rhythm of water and silence. It feels like carrying a calm secret inside the chest. I walk toward the dunes, feeling the sun begin to write warmth along my shoulders. The tide behind me keeps its own handwriting, each line erased and rewritten, as if the world itself were practicing forgiveness. At the top of the dune, I turn once more. The sea glows with morning, and for a moment I could swear I see a flash of green glass far out, a final blink of sunlight on the bottle's curve. Then it's gone, I whisper, without needing to understand why. "Thank you, Eliora." The wind carries the name softly, letting it travel farther than my voice could. It feels right to let it go that way. The keeper's bell rings once in the distance. Not loud, just enough. It sounds like the world acknowledging a letter received. I begin to walk back along the beach, each step lighter than before. The sound of waves follows, the same, yet always new. In, out, forward, back. The grammar of peace. At the edge of the path, I pick up a small, smooth stone and hold it in my palm. It fits perfectly without trying. I do not keep it. I place it back where it was, because enough has already stayed with me. As I leave the shore, the wind rises gently behind me, carrying the faintest echo of a name over the water. Not loud, not gone, just home. Evening has folded again into night. The day's warmth lingers only in memory and in the thin scent of salt on my skin. The sea has returned to its deeper voice, steady, low, forgiving. I walk the narrow path back toward the shore. The town behind me dims, one window at a time, until the last lamp gives in to the dark. Ahead, the horizon is a single breath of silver. The air feels slower here. Even the wind moves as if it were thinking between steps. Each sound, a wave, a sigh, a shifting grain of sand, finds room to finish itself. Silence has become generous. At the edge of the dunes, I stop and close my eyes. The tide speaks through the soles of my feet. It hums in a rhythm older than sleep, older than any word we use for peace. When I open my eyes, the sea is alive with light. Tiny sparks drift and bloom beneath the surface, blue, green, and ghostly white. Each wave carries thousands, and each one breaks open like a quiet celebration. They are living lights, small creatures of the tide, invisible by day, luminous by darkness. Every motion becomes radiance. Even the soft drag of my step leaves a trail of stars. I kneel and let my hand rest in the shallow water. The light gathers around my fingers, glowing brighter where I move, fading gently when I still. It feels as if the sea itself is breathing through me. There is no boundary now. Sky, water, body, breath, everything folds together, held by the same slow pulse. I whisper nothing, and the sea answers anyway. A cloud passes over the moon, and the world deepens into velvet blue. The bioluminescent waves shine brighter, painting the darkness from below. It is as if the stars have decided to live in water tonight. Far offshore, lightning glimmers behind a distant storm, so faint that it looks more like thought than thunder. The horizon blinks, then sleeps again. The world is vast, yet near. I wade a little farther. The water reaches my knees, cool and kind. Each movement sets new constellations drifting from my skin. I am both the sky and the reflection now. For a moment, I remember the bottle, its name, the letter folded inside. Eliora, light. The sea had been teaching me that word long before I read it. Now it teaches me again, with no alphabet at all. The lights swirl, forming shapes that never settle. Circles, lines, brief comets underwater. I stand very still, and they gather around me as if to measure my calm. The sound of the waves becomes smaller, closer. It no longer breaks, it breathes. Each exhale brushes my legs like soft fabric. The scent of the ocean is sweeter now, less salt, more air. Somewhere above, the lighthouse turns its patient circle. Its beam crosses the shore, strikes the foam, and vanishes. But the sea answers with its own flicker, as if returning the greeting. I imagine the keeper standing inside, listening as I do, counting rotations not for time but for company. We are both awake inside the same long heartbeat. The sky begins to fill with stars. The brighter ones find their reflections instantly, doubling themselves in the black glass of the sea. There is no higher or lower, only continuation. A single shooting star slides across the far horizon, slow enough for a wish, gentle enough not to wake the waves. I do not make a wish. The moment already feels granted. I let myself sink to sit in the shallow water. It folds around me softly, not as something to fight, but as something that agrees to hold me without keeping me. Every ripple carries light away and then back again. The motion reminds me of breathing in sleep. The body rests. The world keeps the rhythm. Somewhere beyond sound, I feel the memory of voices. The keeper's calm tone, Eliora's letter, the laughter that once belonged to the shore. All of them return without needing to be called. The sea seems to speak in their language now. No grammar, only rhythm, No argument, only return. Each pulse against my skin says, "You are here." I lie back, floating. The surface holds me easily. Above me, stars drift. Below me, stars drift. For a moment, I am the hinge between them. A small, breathing bridge. Time softens. It is no longer passing. It is pooling. The night gathers itself like water in a quiet bowl. If I listen closely, I can hear my heartbeat matching the waves. The moon returns, silver and unhurried. It paints a path of light across the tide, a road that leads everywhere and nowhere. I imagine the bottle still traveling that path somewhere far beyond sight, the letter inside glowing softly, the name repeating itself into forever. The light of the living tide glimmers around me like gentle breath. Each spark brightens, fades, and in fading becomes part of another. It is a conversation made of letting go. I close my eyes. The waves speak through the spaces between heartbeats. They say nothing new, yet every word feels like the first one ever said. In, out, forward, back. The grammar of the sea continues, patient as sleep. My body learns it, forgets language, remembers rhythm. Somewhere behind the sound of water, the keeper's bell rings. One note, then another. The metal hum blends with the night wind, and soon I can't tell which began first. I drift in the shallows, half asleep. Dream and tide trade places quietly. The living light gathers around my arms and fades again, as if tucking me beneath its surface. The sky presses gently on the sea. The sea lifts gently toward the sky. Between them, I disappear. Not gone, just resting in their meeting. And then, with the faintest pull, the tide begins to fall. The light ebbs. The waves retreat, leaving soft silence behind. A silence that feels like completion. I stand, slow and weightless. Droplets roll from my hands, each one flashing a last tiny spark before it joins the sand. The air tastes clean again, like a page turned, like breath after a long word. Behind me, the lighthouse beam sweeps once more across the water, steady, calm, familiar. The world does not need to end. It only needs to rest. The tide has gone out. Only thin threads of water move between the sand and the dawn. The world is quiet, but not asleep. It is listening. The stars have finished their watch. One by one, they step aside for the soft color climbing the edge of the sea. It begins as gray, then rose, then a gold too gentle to wake the gulls. My skin still carries the cool memory of night water. Each breath feels clean, like beginning again. The shore smells faintly of salt and newness. The horizon is open and kind. I walk slowly along the damp sand, following the faint print of my steps from hours ago. They are lighter now, almost erased. The sea has rewritten them with patience. Far out, the line between sky and water softens until it disappears. The world becomes a single surface of light. I close my eyes and let it fill me, the way sunlight fills a quiet room. The first bird calls, a thin note, curious and brave. It lands in the air like a small pebble in still water. Ripples of sound spread through the dawn. I reached the place where the bottle had been set free. The sand there glows faintly, as if the moment remembered itself. Nothing visible remains, yet the silence feels occupied, gentle, aware. I sit, letting the morning gather around me. Each wave that returns brings a softer sound than the one before. It feels like breathing through silk. A shell lies near my hand. Its spiral is shallow, almost flat, but the inside holds a glimmer, a pale echo of the night's living light. I lift it to my ear. The hush inside is different now, warmer, almost spoken. And in that hush, I hear something that might be memory or tide or voice. It is not loud, but it is clear. It says, "Thank you for listening." The sound drifts through me like sunlight through thin curtains. It doesn't ask for a reply. It only offers a feeling that stays. Peace, maybe. Belonging, perhaps. I whisper back. The words feel too heavy. You're welcome. Thank you for returning. The breeze takes what I say, folds it into itself, and carries it away over the water. The lighthouse light fades in the growing day. Its work is done for now. The keeper, somewhere high within, will rest. Even the bell sleeps. The sand warms beneath the rising sun. Each grain glints, tiny and bright, like moments choosing to stay. The rhythm of the sea slows to the pace of morning. Everything exhales. I stand, brushing the sand from my palms. A single line of foam follows the edge of my shadow, then slides away, a quiet signature of the sea. Behind me, the dunes shimmer with light. Grasses lean gently, their tips catching the gold, each one writing the same small sentence of joy. I walk toward the path that leads back to the town. The air changes, now carrying the smell of bread and smoke, the first notes of waking life. But the sea's rhythm stays with me, steady inside the chest. I realize the story is not ending. It is unfolding again somewhere else. In another bottle, another letter, another listener. The tide is a messenger without fatigue. I stop once more to look behind. The water glows silver, and for a heartbeat, a faint flash of green seems to rise and fall with the swell. Perhaps the bottle, perhaps just light. Either way, enough. The world feels lighter now. I breathe, and the air answers. The sound of the waves fades into the sound of my heartbeat. For the first time, I cannot tell which one began the song. The sky is open. The morning has written its gentle reply. The letter has been received.